In this episode, we're going to talk about mental fortitude. Not just positive thinking, though that has its place. We're going to go deeper. We're going to explore what it truly means to build an unbreakable mental fortitude. Friends, colleagues, fellow seekers of the good life, isn't it fascinating how often we are told to just think positive? You've heard it. I've heard it. You face a challenge, a setback, a disappointment, and well-meaning voices chirp, stay positive. Look on the bright side, and there's a kernel of truth there, isn't there? A sunny disposition is certainly preferable to a perpetually gloomy one. Optimism can be a pleasant companion on a fair-weather day. But what happens when the storm hits? What happens when the winds of adversity howl? When the rains of misfortune pour down? When the affirmations you've dutifully recited seem to mock you in their inadequacy? What happens when positive affirmations crumble in the face of genuine adversity? Is there a deeper strength we can cultivate? A more resilient foundation upon which to build our lives? I believe there is. You see, the human experience in its richness and complexity presents us all with challenges. It's the common denominator. Whether you're aiming for financial independence, vibrant health, strong relationships, or peace of mind, life will inevitably test your resolve. It will present you with its winters. We all know about the seasons, don't we? There's spring, the time for planting with enthusiasm. There's summer, the time for nourishing and protecting our efforts. There's autumn, the time for reaping the rewards. And then there's winter. Winter always comes. It might be an economic winter, a personal winter, a spiritual winter. The question isn't if winter will come, but what will you do when it arrives? Will your mental house be built on the shifting sands of mere positive thinking, or on the bedrock of a profound, unshakable fortitude? The desire for resilience that can withstand life's winters is a universal aspiration. We all want to be strong, to be able to bounce back, to not just survive, but to thrive despite the difficulties. And this is where my perspective comes into play. For years, I've taught that your mindset is crucial. It's a fundamental, but it's not something you just wish for or stumble upon. Oh no, it's something to be actively built, meticulously developed, and consistently reinforced. It's about personal development, leading to a stronger character, a more resilient spirit. It's about becoming the kind of person who can handle whatever life throws their way, not with a fragile smile, but with a deep, abiding strength. So, in our time together today, we're going to delve into this. We'll explore the nature of true mental fortitude, looking beyond the surface of simple optimism. We'll examine some powerful principles for cultivating this inner strength. Principles like establishing a robust personal philosophy, consciously managing the influences that shape your thinking, and learning the profound art of transmuting adversity into advancement. We'll also touch upon some practical disciplines for mental conditioning, because ideas are one thing, but application is where the magic happens. And finally, we'll consider the profound, life-altering impact that such fortitude can have on every single area of your life. Are you ready? Good. Let's begin this important work. Now let's talk about the very bedrock of this mental fortitude we're aiming to build. If your mind is a house, then your personal philosophy is its foundation. And you wouldn't want to build a magnificent house on a shaky foundation, would you? Of course not. You'd want that foundation to be deep, solid, and unyielding. So what is this personal philosophy? It's not about quoting Plato or Socrates, though there's wisdom to be found there for sure. No, a personal philosophy, in the way I teach it, is the sum total of everything you've learned. It's the set of guiding principles, beliefs, and values that shapes your unique view of the world and your place within it. It's the framework you use to interpret your experiences, make your decisions, and ultimately define your reality. It's the why that sustains you through the how. When the how gets tough, when the path becomes obscured, it's your why, rooted in your philosophy, that provides the light, the impetus to continue. Why is a well-defined personal philosophy so much more robust than fleeting positive thoughts? Well, positive thinking, in isolation, can be like a fresh coat of paint on a crumbling wall. It looks good for a little while, but it doesn't address the underlying structural issues. Your philosophy, however, is the structure. It provides context. It provides meaning. It gives you a framework for interpreting challenges constructively, rather than as personal affronts or signs of inevitable defeat. I've said it many times, and it bears repeating because it's so crucial. Your personal philosophy is the greatest determining factor in how your life works out. Jot that down. It's not your circumstances, not your background, not even the events that befall you. It's your philosophy about those things that holds the most sway. Let me give you an illustration. Imagine two individuals, Sarah and Tom, both, through no fault of their own, experience a significant setback. Let's say they both lose their jobs unexpectedly. Sarah has cultivated a philosophy rooted in positive thinking alone. Her mantra is everything will be fine, but it lacks deep roots. When the shock hits, her positivity wavers, then crumbles. She feels victimized, lost. The positive affirmations feel hollow because they aren't anchored to a deeper understanding of life's cycles or her own capacity for growth. She might say, "Why me? This isn't fair. I was being so positive." Now consider Tom. Tom has spent time consciously developing a personal philosophy, perhaps one with elements of stoicism, a growth mindset, and an understanding of seasons. He too feels the sting of the job loss. That's only human, but his philosophy provides a different lens. He might think, okay, this is unexpected. This is a winter moment. What can I learn from this? What skills can I develop now? This is an opportunity to reevaluate, perhaps to find something even better aligned with my goals. His philosophy doesn't deny the difficulty, but it reframes it. It offers a path forward, a sense of agency. He understands that setbacks are part of the journey, not the end of it. His philosophy tells him that he is resourceful, that challenges are opportunities in disguise, and that personal growth often comes through such trials. Think of it like a tree. The leaves, those might be your daily thoughts, your positive affirmations. A strong wind can scatter them, can't it? But if that tree has deep, strong roots, that's your philosophy. It remains standing. It can lose its leaves, but the core structure, the ability to regenerate and grow, is intact. The roots hold it firm when the storms rage. Superficial positivity is just the leaves. A strong philosophy is the root system that anchors you and provides nourishment, even when the surface looks barren. How do you develop such a philosophy? It's an active process, not a passive one. It involves learning from your own experiences, both successes and failures. Don't just go through an experience. Growth it. Extract the lessons. As I've often said, some people live and learn and some people just live. Be a learner. Read good books. Attend seminars. Listen to people who have achieved what you want to achieve. Reflection. Take time to think. Seriously. In our busy world, this is a radical act. Reflect on what you're learning. How does it fit with what you already believe? Does it challenge your current views? Good. That's how you refine your philosophy. Journaling is an excellent tool for this. Association. Spend time with people who have a strong, positive, growth-oriented philosophy. Their thinking will rub off on you, just as negative thinking will if you surround yourself with cynics and complainers. One decision. Consciously decide what your core values and principles will be. What will you stand for? What will you not tolerate in yourself or from others? This is about drawing lines in the sand. I've often urged, let others lead small lives, but not you. Let others argue over small things, but not you. Let others cry over small hurts, but not you. Let others leave their future in someone else's hands, but not you. How does a strong philosophy elevate one above petty concerns and strengthen resolve? It's because your philosophy gives you a bigger picture, a grander vision for your life. When you're focused on building a legacy, on making a meaningful contribution, on becoming the best version of yourself, the small, irritating things tend to shrink insignificant. Your philosophy acts as a filter, helping you to distinguish between what truly matters and what is merely a distraction. It fortifies your resolve because your actions are aligned with deeply held beliefs, not fleeting whims or external pressure. You're not easily swayed because you know why you're doing what you're doing. So here's a reflection point for you right now. Take a moment, be honest with yourself. What are the core beliefs that make up your current personal philosophy? When tested, do they provide you with strength and clarity, or do they waver? If they waver, that's not a cause for despair, it's an invitation. It's an invitation to begin the vital work of consciously constructing, refining, and strengthening that philosophical bedrock. Because without it, true mental fortitude will remain an elusive dream. With it, it becomes an achievable reality, an anchor in the inevitable storms of life. This isn't just a good idea, folks, it's essential. All right, now that we've established the critical importance of your personal philosophy as the bedrock, let's turn our attention to what you build upon that foundation. Specifically, let's talk about the environment of your mind. You see, mental fortitude isn't just about having strong internal principles. It's also significantly affected, for better or worse, by what you allow to enter your mind on a daily basis. This means actively, consciously, and diligently managing the influences around you, the information you consume, the associations you keep, and the general environment you inhabit. I've often said that you must stand guard at the door of your mind. This is not a passive activity, my friends. It's an active, ongoing vigilance. Why? Because your mind is like a fertile garden, and in any garden, whatever you plant, or whatever seeds are allowed to drift in and take root, will grow. If you plant seeds of positivity, knowledge, inspiration, and strength, that's what will flourish. But if you carelessly allow seeds of negativity, doubt, fear, and mediocrity to be sown, those weeds will quickly choke out the good crop. This principle is so fundamental. Think about it. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Jot that down. It's a profound truth. We are like chameleons, subtly taking on the attitudes, habits, and beliefs of those we are closest to. If you surround yourself with people who are negative, who complain, who have limited ambitions, who blame others for their problems, what do you think will happen to your own mindset? It will be pulled down inevitably. Their subtle negativity, their limiting beliefs, will seep into your consciousness, eroding your mental strength, often without you even realizing it. Conversely, if you associate with people who are positive, who are learners, who are doers, who take responsibility, who are striving for growth and excellence, their energy, their insights, their standards will elevate you. They will challenge you, inspire you, and support you in your own quest for mental fortitude. Choosing your associations carefully is one of the most powerful strategies for building and maintaining mental strength. Sometimes this means making difficult decisions. It might mean lovingly distancing yourself from certain individuals who consistently drain your energy or undermine your aspirations. It's not about being unkind. It's about self-preservation and recognizing the profound impact that others have on your mental and emotional well-being. Now, let's talk about your information diet. In this modern age, we are bombarded with information, aren't we? The 24/7 news cycle, the endless scroll of social media, the countless entertainment options. If you are not discerning, your mind can become a dumping ground for negativity, sensationalism, and triviality. Ask yourself, what are you feeding your mind? Is the news you consume predominantly fear-based and problem-focused? Or does it offer constructive insights and solutions? Does your social media feed leave you feeling inspired and connected, or inadequate and anxious? Does your entertainment uplift you, or does it desensitize you and lower your standards? Curating your information diet is crucial. This might mean limiting exposure to negative news. Stay informed. Yes, but don't marinate in negativity. Unfollowing social media accounts that consistently bring you down or promote values contrary to your philosophy. Choosing books, podcasts, and documentaries that educate, inspire, and expand your thinking. This is where continuous learning comes in. As I've always maintained, never begrudge the money you spend on your own education. This includes the education of your mind through quality material. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. And a big part of that fortune is the wealth of a strong, well-nourished mind. Feed your mind with constructive material. Read the books that will make you think, that will stretch you, that will introduce you to new ideas and perspectives. Remember, everything you allow into your mind contributes to the person you are becoming. Every book you read, every conversation you have, every show you watch, every piece of news you absorb, it's all either building you up or subtly tearing you down. There is rarely a neutral input. I've often said, we must all wage an intense, lifelong battle against the constant downward pull. Isn't that true? The natural tendency, if left unchecked, is often towards apathy, towards negativity, towards the path of least resistance. This applies profoundly to mental influences. The downward pull comes from the pervasive negativity in some media, from the limited thinking of some around us, from our own old habits of doubt and fear. Guarding the gates of your mind is an act of actively resisting this pull. It's about making conscious choices every single day about what you will allow to influence your thoughts, your feelings, and ultimately your actions. Think of your mind as your most valuable asset. Would you allow just anyone to walk into your home and leave their clutter and garbage lying around? Of course not. You'd be selective. You must be even more selective with what you allow into your mind, because the clutter there is far more detrimental. This isn't about creating an artificial bubble where you only hear good news. It's about balance. It's about being aware of the challenges and problems in the world, but focusing your primary mental energy on solutions, on growth, on what you can control and influence. Starting with your own thoughts. It's about consciously tilting the scales in favor of influences that foster strength, resilience, and a positive, proactive outlook. So here's a practical reflection point for you today. What are the primary sources of information influence in your daily life? Take an honest inventory. Are they contributing to your mental fortitude, or are they subtly undermining it? What one change, just one, can you commit to making this week to guard the gates of your mind more effectively? Perhaps it's subscribing to an inspiring podcast, or unfollowing a negative social media feed, or committing to reading 10 pages of a good book each day. Small changes consistently applied can lead to monumental shifts in your mental landscape. Guard those gates, my friends, for what you allow in will surely shape the fortress or the ruins of your mind. We've talked about building a strong philosophical foundation. We've discussed the critical need to guard the gates of your mind by managing influences. Now let's tackle a subject that many people try to avoid, but which is absolutely essential for forging unbreakable mental fortitude. Adversity. The challenges, the setbacks, the disappointments, the winters of life I mentioned earlier. True mental fortitude isn't demonstrated by a life devoid of problems. Oh no. That's a fantasy. A life without challenge is a life without growth. True mental fortitude shines in its ability to process adversity, to learn from it, and yes, to transform it. I've often taught that challenges are not just obstacles, they are chances to grow. They are the very experiences that sculpt our character and temper our resolve. Why is embracing adversity, or at least learning to navigate it constructively, so key to mental strength? It's simple. It's in the crucible of challenge that resilience is forged. Just like a muscle grows stronger not by avoiding resistance, but by working against it, your mental and emotional strength grows when it is tested. Avoiding difficulty, shying away from challenges, always seeking the easy path. This leads to weakness, to fragility. It's like trying to build physical strength by always lifting the lightest weights. You simply won't get stronger. This is why I've always said, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Isn't that a powerful shift in perspective? Instead of lamenting the difficulty of the task or the severity of the setback, focus your energy on developing the skills, the wisdom, the character, the fortitude to meet that challenge. The problem is not the problem. The problem is your capacity to handle the problem. And adversity, my friends, gives you the unique opportunity to expand that capacity. Think about some of the most inspiring stories throughout history, or even in your own life. Are they stories of uninterrupted ease and comfort? Rarely. More often, they are tales of individuals who face significant adversity, perhaps financial ruin, a health crisis, a deep personal loss, or monumental failure. And somehow, they not only endured, but they emerged stronger, wiser, and more impactful. They performed a kind of alchemy, turning the lead of their setbacks into the gold of profound growth or achievement. Consider the story of a person who, after a devastating business failure, doesn't just give up. They grieve the loss, yes. They feel the pain. But then they dissect the experience. What went wrong? What could I have done differently? What lessons are here for me? They don't let the failure define them as a failure, as a person. Instead, they extract the wisdom, integrate the lessons into their philosophy. And armed with this new knowledge and a more resilient spirit, they try again, perhaps in a new venture or with a revised approach. That failure, that adversity, becomes a crucial stepping stone on their path to eventual success. It wasn't the absence of the fall, but the way they rose from it that defined their journey. The process of a muscle growing stronger is a perfect analogy. When you subject a muscle to stress through exercise, you create tiny micro tears in the muscle fibers. It's in the process of repairing those tears that the muscle becomes stronger, more capable. Adversity does something similar for your character and your mental fortitude. It stretches you. It tests you. It might even feel like it's breaking you at times. But if you approach it with the right mindset, with a commitment to learn and grow, you will repair and rebuild stronger than before. You develop new coping mechanisms, deeper insights, and a greater appreciation for your own resilience. This brings me to another critical piece of wisdom. Unless you change how you are, you'll always have what you've got. Adversity, in its often uncomfortable way, forces necessary change and development. If you keep doing the same things, thinking the same thoughts, holding on to the same limiting beliefs, you'll keep getting the same results. Adversity has a way of shaking you out of your complacency. It can reveal your weaknesses, yes, but that's valuable information. It shows you where you need to improve, where you need to grow, where your philosophy needs refinement, or where your mental gates have been left unguarded. The key is your response to adversity. First, acknowledge it without surrendering to it. Don't pretend the problem doesn't exist, but also don't let it overwhelm you. See it for what it is, a challenge, a test. Second, seek the lesson. Ask powerful questions. What can I learn from this? How can this make me better? What opportunity might be hidden within this difficulty? This is not about finding a silver lining in a naive way, but about actively looking for the growth potential. Third, adjust your approach. Based on the lessons learned, what changes do you need to make? To your strategy, to your skills, to your mindset. Fourth, persist with refined action. Don't let setbacks paralyze you. Learn, adjust, and then get back in the game. Resilience is built through repeated effort in the face of difficulty. This is not to say it's easy. Facing adversity can be painful, discouraging, and exhausting. But the alternative, to crumble, to give up, to become bitter, is far more detrimental in the long run. The mentally strong don't necessarily feel less pain from adversity, but they process it differently. They use it as fuel. They understand that the winter is necessary for the spring to arrive with renewed vigor. They know that the pressure can create diamonds. So here's a reflection for you. Think of a past challenge you faced. What lessons did you derive from it? How did it, or could it have, contributed to your mental fortitude? And perhaps more importantly, how can you approach current difficulties, big or small, not just as burdens to be endured, but as opportunities for growth, as chances to practice this alchemy of adversity? When you start to see challenges not as stop signs, but as invitations to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient, you unlock a new level of personal power. You begin to understand that the path to an unbreakable mental fortitude is paved in part by the very stones that once seemed to block your way. Embrace the process, for it is in overcoming that we become. Well, my friends, we've taken quite a journey today, haven't we? We've explored the landscape beyond the often superficial terrain of just think positive. We've delved into the very architecture of an unbreakable mental fortitude. We began by acknowledging the universal desire for a strength that can withstand life's inevitable winters. Recognizing that while optimism has its place, it's often insufficient when not anchored to something deeper. We then laid the cornerstone, your personal philosophy. We saw how a consciously developed set of beliefs, values, and principles provides the intellectual and emotional stability, the why, that sustains you through any how. It's the root system that keeps you standing when the storms of life blow with fury. Your philosophy is not a minor detail. It's the greatest determining factor in how your life works out. From there, we move to the critical task of guarding the gates of your mind. We recognize that mental fortitude is profoundly shaped by the influences we allow in, our associations, the information we consume, the environment we cultivate. You are indeed the average of those you spend time with, and your mind becomes what you feed it. This requires active vigilance, a commitment to curate your mental diet, and choose influences that build rather than erode your inner strength, remembering that we must all wage that lifelong battle against the constant downward pull. And finally, we confronted the often feared subject of adversity. We reframed challenges not as mere obstacles, but as potent opportunities for growth, the very experiences that forge resilience. We embrace the idea, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better, understanding that it is through navigating and learning from setbacks that we perform the alchemy of turning difficulties into stepping stones, becoming stronger and wiser in the process. Because unless you change who you are, you'll always have what you've got. What does all this synthesize into? It's this: a resilient mind, a mind forged in the fires of conscious effort, philosophical grounding, careful curation, and learned experience, is not some accidental gift bestowed upon a fortunate few. No, it is a cultivated asset. It is, perhaps, your greatest asset in navigating the complexities, the joys, and the sorrows of this human experience. It's more valuable than money in the bank, more critical than any temporary status or possession, because it's the internal resource that allows you to acquire, maintain, and appreciate all other good things in life. Building this kind of mental fortitude is not a one-time event. It's not a seminar you attend and then you're fixed. It's an ongoing journey, a continuous practice. It's a key, non-negotiable aspect of true personal development. It requires daily attention, consistent effort, and a willingness to continually learn, adapt, and grow. Each day presents new opportunities to strengthen your philosophy, to choose your influences wisely, and to find the lesson in any setback. So, I leave you with this final thought, a charge, if you will. The quality of your life will largely be determined by the quality of your thoughts and the strength of your resolve. Choose today, right now, to move beyond mere positive thinking. Commit to forging an unbreakable mental fortitude. Build your philosophy, guard your mind, and transform every challenge into a testament to your growing power. This is not just about survival, my friends. It's about prevailing with wisdom, with grace, and with an inner strength that can see you through any season. Take these ideas, ponder them, and most importantly, begin to apply them. The journey to unbreakable mental fortitude starts with a single conscious decision. Make that decision today. Build that inner fortress, brick by deliberate brick. The life you desire, the person you aspire to become, is waiting on the other side of that commitment. Thank you for your time and your attention. Now go out there and build that extraordinary life.